Good evening, and welcome to The Most Epic Dream. This is a series where I tell you the story of a dream that I've had recently that I consider to be epic or to have an interesting story. Now, a lot of you might not think that's very interesting, but bear with me for a little while here until we get started. If you haven't seen the first couple episodes of this series, I would very highly recommend that you go back and watch those. I'm going to put text annotations on the screen right now, and I'm going to leave links to the very first episode down there in the description so you can click on it. If you go there, a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about in the story structure and things like that, they'll make a lot more sense. So if you've never seen one of these episodes before, please go back to the beginning. For those of you that are fans of this series, let's go ahead and get started with the story. The story opens up in a diner. It's a very old diner, one that was obviously designed in the 50s or 60s during the malt shop craze and has survived into the present day. Modified, of course, but you can still see the original structure. The diner is filled with plenty of regular-looking people of various ages and races, all sitting there eating and drinking and minding their own business. These aren't random people. These are my friends. These are people that I've hired because I'm actually filming right now. I'm filming a zombie short video, either for Machinima or for a personal project, I can't remember. Along with me in the diner as a part of the production team are Ryan and Jock, some friends of mine that I met at Mississippi State that helped me make the live action If It Were Realistic videos, which you guys will see eventually, I promise, and the Fallout ones and all that other sort of stuff. And also with me is Austin May, who helps with a lot of the other If It Were Realistic videos, acting and some degree of advising, since he's the only military guy that we know. And we're filming a zombie video for Machinima. Or, I don't really know what it's for, but we're sitting there, we're filming, we're minding my own business. I'm telling my extras, oh, I want you to eat the food like this. Don't knock the salt out of the way. I need you to scoot over. You're blocking the camera. Everything's fine. And the diner also has a little upstairs area where they run the business, and I'm always going up in there talking to the manager, saying thank you for letting me use the building. She's an old lady. She's more like, oh, well, thank you for paying me, so everything's cool. And we're getting ready to film, setting the camera up, pointing at everybody. It's an opening scene. There's not even supposed to be any zombies in this scene when somebody comes running, busting into the front door, screaming, slams the front door shut, and locks it. They're covered in blood, and they're panicking, and they're yelling at me that we need to lock this place up, and they're coming. I'm like, whoa, dude, hold up, calm down, you know, I know it's a zombie movie, I know we're having, you know, a good time here, but that's not till later, wrong scene, wrong time, you need to relax. It's funny and all, we'll get you a part as an extra, and it's starting to sink in that this guy really isn't, like, part of the crew. He's not an extra, this is somebody from out on the street that just ran into the building screaming, and he won't calm down, and everybody's starting to look at him, and like, am I supposed to act right now, or my extras, are they supposed to be doing their extra thing? And I go over and I talk to the guy, and I'm like, dude, you know, what's wrong? What's going on here? And he keeps telling me, screaming at me, zombies are coming. The dead are coming back to life. It's mass chaos out there. It's all gone wrong. And I'm like, yeah, I know I'm filming a zombie movie. What's your problem here? And then I look up to right out the window. It's like the entire world has lost its mind. Everybody's going crazy. People are running left and right, screaming, cars flying by, crashing. It's like everything went from perfectly normal to panic. And I don't know what's going on. I tell everybody in the restaurant to just stay calm, because as the director, even though everything has gone to shit, for some reason everybody's still looking to me for leadership in a crisis situation. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's how human beings are. They look for somebody for advice, and I'm trying to do my best to keep everything calm. When looking out the window, I start to realize why everybody's panicking, why they're running away. That's because a massive horde, and I mean just a whole wave of zombies is flooding down the street after these people, kind of like, if you can imagine the animals that hunt in groups, flocks of birds, fish, just a whole mass just flooding after these people like a wave, like a force of nature tearing through buildings. And I start to panic, and I scream at everybody, this isn't bullshit, we got to lock down, something weird is going on here. And I'm running, getting everybody organized, or flipping over tables, pinning them up against the window. Just everybody be calm, be quiet, let's dim these lights, we're not going to make any noise. And that's when it just starts to sink into the back of my head that I've forgotten about the lady that actually owns the diner up there. And I'm like, oh shit, we better go get her and tell her, because she's probably thinking we're just filming, you know, because I'm paying her to use the place. She probably thinks all this ruckus is just part of the script or whatever. And it's also the same time I hear a crash and a scream from upstairs, and I don't know what to do, so just grab a pan, like a big pot out the kitchen out of the back, and I tell Austin, who's with us, to get one of the guns ready. And he's like, are you serious? And he's, yeah, because we're filming a cheap independent movie here. We didn't even have the money to get a fake gun. We had to use a real rifle but unloaded, of course. But we brought some bullets because we couldn't afford blanks. We were just going to film the guy shooting and then another guy falling over. We could just record the sound from a real gun. Even though real gun sounds don't sound like they do on TV, it's all that we had the money for. So I'm like, get the rifle, load it up, get ready. We're going up there. And I get the plate, walking up to the around back of the kitchen, and it's a little door, like an old cheap ass wooden door on a lot of cheap houses. You could probably kick them over real easy. Turn the handle, pry the door open, stick my head in, pull it out real quick. Didn't see anything. Stick it in a little slower and pull it out. Didn't see anything. Stick it in all the way. Look around. Don't see anything. Okay, open the door all the way. I'm going up first, pan in hand. Austin is back there right behind me, going up, rifle kind of over my shoulder. I'm sitting here thinking, this motherfucker's been in Iraq and Afghanistan. He better not panic now and shoot me in the back of the head, because I'm going to come a zombie. I'm going to bite his balls off if that happens. He's creeping up the stairs. And I get to the office room where the lady likes to sit down and do her paperwork, run everything. And I look in, and there's this massively, or not massively, just a very fat green zombie with this scraggly hair just munching on her, chewing on her neck. But it's weird, because the other zombies that I saw, they weren't green. They were, you know, flesh colored. They were gray. They were rotting. They were other things. This thing is solid green, like crayon green, like childish, cartoonish green, and covered in some sort of weird slime or goop. Like this is something new that I've not seen before. And as soon as I look at it, it looks at me, it just flips its head to the side and looks directly at me. And it's just a little, I swear to God, it smiled. I panicked. I screamed. I shut the door to her office. Austin behind me. He's already booking it down the stairs. Thanks for the cover. I'm booking it down the stairs. We get down there, slam the door shut, and that's when I can hear his footsteps coming down the stairs. They're just coming. And tell everybody to brace the door. It doesn't do a damn bit of good. This thing kicks the door or pounds it or something, just breaks. The door kind of caves inward, and hands are coming to and getting for me. And everybody's panicked right now. They were calm. They were bracing windows. They were ready to sit this one out. Now that something is inside, they're all panicking. The shit has hit the fan, and nobody knows what to do. We run away from the door. And the thing busts through and it starts chasing me. It starts chasing me around the restaurant. And I don't know why it's ignoring everybody but me. It's just chasing me left and right and left and right. Everybody runs to the very front, kind of out of the way, and I'm stuck in the back between the kitchen and the little serving area and all these other kind of tables, and it's just chasing me around in circles. I'm trying swinging the thing with a pot, but I don't even close. I'm kind of flailing like a little girly man because I don't want to get close enough to be touched by this thing. And then it just starts laughing at me. It starts laughing. It's like, I'm gonna get you. I bet you're gonna taste good. Long time no see, huh? Just chasing me around. I don't know what to do. I throw the pot at it, just hits the head and bounce off, and the thing's still making fun of me like, oh, that hurt. Nah, not really. I'm dead. I can't feel a thing. And I'm running, and it's kind of got me in between a little serving area, like a little buffet table kind of thing. But it's a really long, it can't reach across to get me, and it's like I run left, it runs left. I run right, it runs right. So we're kind of going a little ring around the rosy here. And Austin from the front is trying to shoot the thing, and he's screaming at me to get out of the way. And I'm like, I can't get the fuck out of the way. If I get out of the way, the thing's just going to go around. He's like, well, I'm trying to shoot it. I'm like, well, goddamn it, don't shoot me. He's like, that's why I'm telling you to get out of the way. And the thing is sitting there screaming, shoot him, this will be fun, let's shoot him, it's going to be great. And I get it to run around the other side, so now our positions are reversed. My back is facing all the people, and its back is facing the back of the building, and I scream at Austin to throw me the rifle, and he throws it, and I catch it in one hand in the middle of the air like a fucking badass, do the bolt, stick it right at the thing's face, and pull the trigger. The bullet goes right through above the left eye, just punches right through, not in the eye socket, that would be misleading, but just makes a nice little hole right above the eyebrow, maybe clipping the part of the bone that defines the socket. The thing just laughs like, aw, that hurt. Why don't you cock your bolt and do it again? Maybe you'll do some damage this time. And I cock and I aim it right at the thing's face, and it reaches across the table, grabs the end of the gun, sticks it in its own head, and says, be sure not to miss this time. Well, fuck you, I'm not going to miss. Pull the trigger, bam. Brains go everywhere. Things like, oh, now I have a headache. And I try to pull away, but now it's got a hold to the rifle, and I'm trying to pull away. It's like, oh, you don't want to give away your gun? Huh? I'm trying to get the fuck out of here, trying to pull the gun away. He's like, here, you don't need this, and just bends the end of the barrel with both hands and then hands it back to me. And I have kind of like a hook for a gun that I can't shoot. And just a pro tip for you guys that have never fired a weapon, that don't know anything about firearms, or are from countries where firearms aren't common. If the end of your gun is bent or something's in the barrel, don't shoot the gun because it's going to blow up. So I couldn't shoot the gun because it would blow up in my hands and probably kill me. But I have kind of like a hook rifle, so I swing as hard as I can and hook that motherfucker right in the head. It sticks in, and he just tilts the head to the side so that it sticks in even harder, and then yanks and rips the rifle out of my hands. At this point, I panic. This thing is charging at me. I'm running to the back of the restaurant, and now that I'm running toward the people, and the people see me running toward them with this thing behind me, they all start to panic. And as I'm running to them, they push me away just before the thing gets there, and I don't have anywhere to go because they'll kill me. That thing's gonna kill me. So I turn and try to book it back up the stairs out the back. I don't get all the way. Motherfucking green guy takes a nice big bite out of my arm. Just a nice big hearty bite. Not a bone breaker, it's lower arm just above the wrist, but just tears a huge hunk of flesh out. Nothing fatal, but dear God, it hurt. It wasn't a clean bite. It wasn't a cut. This was ripping. This is kind of like when you get one of those ingrown nails and you have to peel it, and you think it's going to come off nice and easy, but then it goes deeper and deeper, and then by the time you finally ripped it out, you're bleeding all over the place. It was kind of like that, but imagine on a much larger scale on your arm and just peeling a nice huge hunk, and then a little strip comes out. Scream like crazy. I'm running up the stairs. I can hear the thing chasing me right up the stairs, just coming for me. Get up the stairs. The old lady is now a zombie now. She's come back. She's chomping at me, trying to get to me, but she's mangled because the thing was eating her, and it's still chasing me. The only thing I think is just, fuck this, and I jump right out the window, glass and all. A fall of story land. I tried to brace with my hands. Didn't really do too good. I jammed the shit out of one of my wrists. I don't think I broke it, but one of the old football injuries I have is the plate in between my actual hand bones and my wrist is a little bit sore, so it's kind of easy to jam that up when weightlifting or punching somebody. Jam the fuck out of that, and it hurt really, really bad. Just run out into the chaos. I get on the streets, and it's mass chaos. Zombies everywhere. Everything's gone wrong. People panicking, running each other over on purpose. Everybody and their brother that has a gun in this country has broken it out, and they're just on the street shooting anything that moves. And I can't think to do, and I just run and run. Everywhere I run, there's a zombie attacking somebody, coming after me. Hundreds, dozens. I don't know what to do. I just run, and I get into a back alley. There's nothing around me. I get a little place where nothing's chasing me, and I think I'm safe. And the only thing that I can think to do is jump in a dumpster and pull the lid closed and just sit there in all the garbage. It stinks like hell. I've got old moldy spaghetti and shit in my face, but at least I'm not being eaten. And I'm sitting there, and I'm hurting, and I'm bleeding all over the garbage can. I don't know what comes next. I don't know what to do. And I start feeling cold, I start feeling tired, I start feeling sick, and it's sinking into me, Brad. This is the zombie movie that you were writing. This is the one you're going to have to live. This is the really real world. This isn't make-believe. This isn't bullshit. This isn't a movie. You've been bit. You're going to turn into a zombie. It's only a matter of time. What's it going to be, 20 minutes, 5 seconds, 3 days, 1 week? When are you going to get sick? When are you going to die? When are you going to come back? What you going to do? You're going to keep your brain down. I don't know. What's it going to be like to be a zombie? You should kill yourself. Well, if you kill yourself now, won't you come back as a zombie faster? What are you going to do? And the only thing I could think to do was to just sit there in that little garbage can and cry and bleed and get colder and colder and colder. And the next thing I know, when I woke up, everything was really warm in a strange kind of way, like a fuzzy kind of warm, like when you get warm and it feels like all the little hairs on your skin are bursting, like the blood vessels aren't really working right, kind of like if your foot was asleep and warm at the same time with warm little tingles. And I was hungry, so very, very hungry. My vision distorted and blurred, kind of like in a third person, like I was spectating on my own life, and I couldn't quite make sense of everything. Just so hungry, and there was only one thing to eat, only one thing that I really cared to eat, and that was people. People. They were everywhere. They were still everywhere. No clue how long I had been in that trash can, but there were still so many people out on the streets, and like any good zombie would, now zombified, I began to feast. I began starting with the slow people, with the weak people. One of the most horrible things I remember, a pregnant woman. It was like a candy, and it had an extra little surprise in the middle. When you got to the belly, everything was fucked up, and the more I ate, the more I was disgusted with myself. A zombie that could think, but then couldn't stop the hunger, even though it didn't even taste anything. It was just I couldn't even feel the food in my mouth, but it was satisfying to eat, satisfying to be doing something, like a itch in your brain that you just couldn't scratch and you just had to have more of. Like you see this giant delicious ice cream cone, and as soon as you take a bite of it, it just disappears into a vapor in your mouth, leaving only a very faint, sad trace of what you were expecting. And I continued to eat lots of people, but I was smart. I wasn't stupid. I wasn't a dumb zombie by any means, but the sad thing was that the rest of me was so very, very suppressed. Like, I was wondering if the rest were like this, or if it was maybe just me, because I still had my thoughts. I still hated being what I was and what I was doing, but the thoughts came so slowly. To sit there and to think that I'm disgusted with myself, it probably took about half a day to think that, whereas in a matter of 20 seconds I could deduce a plan to kill somebody and eat them. And it went on this way for weeks, just an amount of time that I can't remember, that I can't understand, that I don't know how long it went for, and I just kept eating and eating and eating and eating, and then finally I decided not to eat anymore. The rational part of my brain, so suppressed, thinking so slow, barely able to function, finally came up with a plan, and the simplest plan was to stop eating. You're just not going to do it anymore. It doesn't matter if I die. I'm doing something wrong. I'm doing something horrible, something terribly wrong, something revolting by all standards of human nature, and I just absolutely have to stop. So that's what I did. I stopped. And I did the only thing that I could think to do, which was go back into an alleyway and just avoid everybody and stop and just slowly sit there and die so that my corpse would not be reanimated, that it would just be dead once and for all. And I tried to get into a garbage can again, didn't even have the strength, to just slowly sat down in an alley, fetal position, curling over, everything getting much slower, can't think. Finally, sleep, blackness, just a glimpse of blackness that I knew lasted a very long time, but I couldn't understand how long. It was something akin to if you've ever fallen asleep and then been woken up abruptly and it felt like you never slept at all, like you knew you were asleep for 5 hours, but you only have a 1-second memory of blackness and everything else was gone. It was kind of like that, and when I woke up, it was like coming out of a cocoon. My old skin was there, the rotted skin on top, and I stood up out of that and all sloughed and just drooped off of me onto the ground, and I was again a whole man, a whole human, perfectly able to think, with no desire to eat or to kill, and feeling pretty good about myself. Well, not pretty good. Good to be alive would be more accurate, but still disgusted about the things that I'd done because the memories were coming back. And that's when it started to sink in that I wasn't necessarily in the same spot that when I went to sleep. I was no longer in an alley. I was in a small, dank little room somewhere with a bright light on me, something like a holding cell in some large complex, and I couldn't quite tell what was going on. And that's when this dream starts taking a really, really different kind of feel to it. I'm going to actually have to stop the recording and start over. It's going on longer than I expected, and put some other gameplay in here. There we go. Now the recording program is restarted, and I can restart with a little bit of Modern Warfare 3 here. The gameplay is a little bit random. I'm not quite sure what it is. I'm going to kind of watch it as I do the storytelling. Now, I woke up in something of a laboratory, and this is the saddest part about having really long and/or epic dreams, is the middle of these dreams get always a little bit blurry. The beginning and the end I usually remember pretty well, but the beginning is very blurry just because it was repetitive and the details are honestly very vague. I woke up in this place and I was no longer a zombie but a new person, but I wasn't necessarily a new person, as I was a completely different being, just completely redone and reborn, and they trained me to be some sort of super soldier. I don't remember too well because I had something done with my brain. It fucked up the memories. Maybe that's why it was so vague. And the only thing that I remember is being some sort of a godlike killing machine, something that belonged in an anime somewhere with all these crazy sort of superpowers and strengths and soaking up bullets. And over a period of time, I began to realize that the people that I would have said saved me weren't as benevolent as they first appeared. They didn't save me more as they created me. It was their fault that there were zombies, and the reason that they even unleash the zombies was to just get tons and tons of human test subjects from a certain section of the world, being North America, for reasons I don't really know. It didn't even hit the rest of the world, just my section of the continent. And they were hoping that a certain number of people, which, 1/100%, something like that, would eventually become beings like me, super soldiers, something powerful, something deadly, something dangerous, and that they could, save them and convince them that there is a war going on, because there was a war going on. You wipe out half a continent, and there's going to be a war going on. And I was the soldier in this war. I was the prime example, the killer, the number one go-to secret agent, Superman. And when it finally dawned on me that I was just being used as a pawn, I turned on this organization, and I can't quite remember how it went. This makes me so sad because it was so fuzzy, but I was supposed to be honored for my outstanding service at a small little dinner with some generals and some old men that like to talk and not fight. And it was at that time that I completely went apeshit crazy, killed every single person in the room, cleaned out the entire complex, cleaned out the command center, went to the command center, started sending in crazy codes to drop bombs on bases that they'd been compromised, and to just absolutely wipe out everything, send it all back to the Stone Ages, or at least the people that I didn't like back to the Stone Ages, and it went just like that. I wish I could tell you more about this, more detail, because I know a lot happened here, but the details are just so incredibly vague. And that's all there is to this part of the story. Except that once I was done with the destruction, I'm now a new man. I don't need to eat, I don't need to sleep. I am stronger, better, smarter, faster than any man that ever lived before. I couldn't quite wrap my head around one thing, and that was the weird green zombie that I'd seen in the beginning. I'd been a soldier in the land of the dead for so long, but I'd never seen another green guy. I was wondering, is that a mutation? Because it was sentient. It wasn't a mindless killing machine. It wasn't a reborn person like myself. It was a clearly sentient and malicious zombie, and I didn't know what to make of it. I was still very sad, very distraught. Everybody I ever cared for, all the people that I killed pointlessly in a war that I ate because I was hungry, that it didn't make any sense to me. I just started to wander, and I knew where I was going. I didn't want to admit it to myself, but I did know. I went back to the diner, back to where it all started, back to where I got bit and I died. And all this madness started, but when I got closer, I started seeing some light. I was expecting to see an old ramshackle diner with windows busted in, and all the food gone, and the place totally torn to hell, bodies and skeletons everywhere, but that's not what I saw. When I got there, the lights were on, the place was clean, or the windows were clean, would be more accurate. The sign on the door said open, there was music coming from the inside. So, I don't know what's going on here. Maybe some survivors have retaken the place. I'm going to go a little bit curious. I open the door, and when I go inside, it's like I never left. All the people that were in there, all the 30 or 40, the extras, all my friends, they were all still there, but they weren't moving. They were sitting there in their same little places, or very close to the ones that they were from when I was filming the zombie movie, or when I was trying to film a zombie movie. All the lights were on, everything was clean, they all had food on their table. Some of the food looked a little bit old, some of it looked a little bit newer, like somebody had been cooking and replacing the plates over and over and over again. There was music playing from the old jukebox, the one that we weren't even using when we were there because it was going to distort the sound quality, but some creepy-ass 50s song, it felt creepy. Well, notice the people weren't moving, and when I walked up closer to them, I realized that they were wax statues of what they used to look like. They were embalmed in some way, preserved, stuffed dummies just kind of sitting there. And I was just poking around one of them, and I poked a little bit too hard. My finger went in, and fuck, what is that? Pull it back out. It's got crumbly blood on it, and that's when I realized that it's not that they've been embalmed or taxidermy, that they were literally slothed in wax and stuck in place and carved around, so that they must have all died some kind of horrible, terrible death. And it's about that time I hear some plates clacking in the back of the kitchen, and even I, the super soldier killing machine guy, I'm starting to panic now. I'm starting to get scared. I don't know what in the fuck has happened here. And that's when the door starts to creak, it starts to open, I back away, get ready for a fight, and the door comes open, and who would to bust out but that old nasty green zombie. His skin is somewhat oilier than before, slimier, but it's healed. All the places where I shot him in the head or hit him with a pan, there's like scars there, like little bumps, little clefts, little parts that they're not as smooth as the rest, they don't line up, but it's like they've healed. And he comes out wearing a big ridiculous white chef hat like Chef Boyardee with a whole plate of fresh new food that smelled so good and so delicious, looks at me and smiles and says, "Ah, glad to see you're back. I've been waiting on you." And that's the end of the dream. I don't know what to make of all that. Scared the ever-living shit out of me. Ruined my night's sleep. Didn't go back to sleep at all. I think I had a crappy night's sleep the next night. Just was not a pleasant experience at all in any kind of way, shape, form, or fashion. But it does make for something of an interesting story. I hope that you enjoyed it. And the next non-in-depth video that I plan to put out will probably be another ghost story video. I just hope to goodness I don't have another dream that's worth telling you guys. Drifter out.